I'll be relocating the power and earth for the PLX AFR. If you don't know what that is, look it up.
And it looks like it's going to have to be modified straight out of the packet. So what's unusual about that?
The SM AFR from PLX Devices. It measures your air-fuel ratio and shows it on a gauge. That's also talking to my car's computer, and that's yeah, that's that. I'll be relocating the power on the earth to where the actual original O2 sensor went, so I need to do that. While I'm there, I'm going to install the hoses for the boost controller, and I'll show you how to do that. First thing we need to do is get the battery out of here. Then we're going to remove the negative terminal first. Why the negative terminal? Because when I... Whoops, we're going the wrong way. If I accidentally do this, nothing happens. If I do that one first, zap, 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 zap. So now I can actually touch that on there and it won't do anything, right? Yep, because you need a circuit for a spark, and because I've disconnected that one, there is no circuit. Right, now this battery is nice and light, so you should be able to do that with it. Put that over there. Done. Right, I've already run the cable for the PLX. This is microphone cable because it's shielded, and I'll just switch these terminals on the end. I've got something tricky to do with this, so I'll show you that. Here's the boost controller solenoid. I need some 6mm hose from here and from here to run to about there, and then I'm going to run 3mm hose to the turbo. Why 3mm hose? Because this turbo uses 3mm hose, but we'll get to that in a minute. Let's do our AFR first. Okay, so gonna run this, and then yeah, I'll show you what I'm going to do at the other end. Now this green plug here is the factory O2 sensor plug. I'm going to plug into that. I want to follow the same route that wire takes from over here. So I'm going to have to remove this heat shield. I'm going to have to get this off, and then I'll be able to run the wire across. I think it's just 2 screws. This one here and this one here, so it shouldn't be too difficult. This is what I've had to resort to because this screw won't come out. It'll tighten itself up, but it won't come out. It's very weird. So yeah, I have to use vice grips on the screw head to try to get this screw out. This is ridiculous. Those people that say Murphy's Law doesn't exist, what a load of shit. Like, I guess Suzuki expects you to remove the entire exhaust just to get to this screw, because use this lighting. The lighting. You don't believe in Murphy's Law. Look where the lighting is, and then you can't see what I'm trying to show you. Right, so use this screwdriver. Now I said I was going to do something fancy with the other end of that cable, and I was going to show you it. Well, I don't know where that footage went, but what I actually did is took the old O2 sensor, cut the wiring off it, and then soldered those wires onto my new wire for the PLX, so that will now plug into the original location with the correct outputs. According to the electronic schematic, one of these is supposed to be blue and yellow. None of them are. I've got 2 blacks, black and white, and a red. I know that the red is the O2 sensor wire, and from what I can tell, this black here, solid black, is the blue and yellow. Well, it's supposed to be blue and yellow. I moved these round to make a bit more sense. So grey is now sensor, black is the blue and yellow wire, which is actually an internal earth inside the ECU, and white will be ignition, so that will power the PLX. Hopefully, if all goes to plan. Let's continue running. I'm running this wire here. Because I'm underneath the car, it's incredibly difficult to film, but I mean, you get the general idea of what's going on. We just need to figure out how long this needs to be. So we're going through there, up through this hole here, yep, and then into the car. Okay, so the wire comes out of that hole down there, and I did end up going back and putting tape every so often, about every 6 inches or so, every 20 centimeters or so. Just to hold it all together. I'll get some conduit and run that through later on, but it isn't important right now. Just tuck this away and I'll deal with it later. It's not going to be a problem. Okay, good. Wire runs behind that heat shielding there, the what is it? It's fiberglass matting with basically aluminium foil on top of it. Doesn't work very well, but it is OEM and it does protect the wiring a little bit. Wire pops out underneath the airbag controller, runs along here and to here. Now I'm just going to separate these and double check that they are what they need to be before I connect it up to this here. This is earth and positive for the PLX. Now it is on a 5 amp fuse? Let me just open this and double check. It is a 5 amp fuse as requested by the manual for the PLX. Yeah, so after that's done, this will just tuck away underneath there. This will end up going about here. I've got a tray table, an OEM tray table to go in here, and I'm going to make some drink holders that go in here out of some stuff that I've already got. That will be another video. So let's get this done. Need to double check, triple check, plug it in and hope. I can't actually do that because the battery's out, which means I can't check ignition. I could do a continuity check to the spot it was before though. Let's try that. This is where it used to plug in, up in here. This plug there, it's at the tip of my finger. I need to check continuity between that and what I've just installed. That will tell me at least if it's connected to the ignition, although this might be ignition 2 and the other one's ignition 1, and then who knows whether that will actually give me continuity or not. We'll find out next time on Garage Kei. See, how do you check continuity? That's an interesting lesson, and a lesson worth your learning. Okay, now this, see how here it's got that little mark and then it's got the Wi-Fi speakery looking one. You want the Wi-Fi speakery looking one, and we've got that one, which is diode, so we need to press function. Now it's on the speakery one. Now if we press this, it'll beep at me. See? So that's how we know that that the wire we're touching is the same at either end. Right, so I've connected to this red one, and I'm pretty sure that that red one is ignition. So if I go up and touch it on that plug up there, it should beep at us. Right, let's go. There we go. So that would suggest, not guarantee, that this wire here is actually ignition. In some way, this wire is connected to the one underneath the dash. Okay, the only way to truly test it will be to put the battery back in and then see when this one becomes alive. Like, when does this have power on it? Okay, after all of that mess, I now have my 2 wires in this plug here and that will plug into this when I have a spare hand that can do it, because tripods don't fit into this area. And I mean, just no, you need to see this, don't you? Yeah, there we go. Plugs in, red to red, black to black. That should power up the PLX just fine. Let's take that for a test run, shall we, before we put the entire car back together. Now, I think a combination of me getting pissed off and just needing to get this thing done means I don't have any more footage from that evening. What I did do when the camera was off was fit the hoses for the boost controller and test to see if what we did actually worked. Does the AFR gauge work? Spoiler alert, the AFR gauge works perfectly. But I'm sure what you really want to know is, did it actually fix the problem that I was chasing? Well, find out next time on Garage Kei. That is the end of this episode. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button. If you want to see what happens next, then hit the subscribe button so you don't miss it. If you'd like to support this channel, you can do that by getting your name on the Garage Kei door or picking yourself up some merch. Check out the Teespring store. Details on that are in the description, along with questions and other things that I feel like putting in at the time of uploading to YouTube. So don't forget to check that out. I will see you in the next one. Later.